Good afternoon to everybody and welcome to this end of the year special live stream. It is the final live stream of 2025. I hope you're all doing well. The time has just gone 4 p.m. on this 28th of December. It is Sunday afternoon and we have got a lot going on. So I'm pretty excited with today's stream. All the things that we've got to discuss. We're talking about record heat, warmest Christmas day on record. We've also seen blizzard conditions. Only the third white Christmas in one particular location on record. That being on the island of Jersey, down in the Channel Islands. This is actually the scene here. Megabug7 on Twitter. Posting this photograph looking out their house window, but I've got a photograph that I'm wanting to publish, and so just bear with me. I've literally just nipped out. Beautiful pink sky this evening. Temperature here is down to -2.4 currently at the minute. The frost hasn't left the ground all day, and it has been a beautiful winter's afternoon for sure. But let me just, quickly try and publish this photograph of the beautiful sky that we've got here at Marvin Weather HQ. I hope this comes out okay, but so just bear with. There we go. There we go. You can tell we're live anyway, yeah? Just releasing this onto my Facebook fan page. And we can look at that. So just bear with a second. And then we will discuss how everybody's getting on. Did you have a good Christmas? I certainly hope that everybody has had a lovely Christmas. And once again, I would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and yes, we are rattling closer to the turn of another year, which is pretty hard to believe. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily coming out as well as I hoped, but yeah, beautiful pink sky, frost on the ground, and yep, we certainly are feeling much more seasonal as we draw December and 2025 to a close. There is some interesting rumblings in the modelling with regards to some significant snowfall potential after we enter 2026, that is. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how all this pans out. It certainly does look as if it is going to be a cold first half to January, at least anyway. And then we will wait and see what takes place over the next few days. I will release the January outlook, which I'm excited to bring in the coming days. And yep, I'm just trying to get myself organised here. That sunset caught my attention. But I want to bring up the live chat and see what folks are saying this evening. Just bear with a second. Sorry about this, everybody. Okay, so who was on the chat first of all here? We've got the Soft Shallow 7435. Hi, Mark. Cannot wait for your analysis of the ensembles and every other Weather Channel reactors are excited about. Frogs Lives Matthew saying good evening, Mark. Hope you had a great Christmas. We certainly did. Yeah, it was a little bit of a difficult Christmas, I must admit, without getting too emotional or anything. Obviously, this was the first Christmas without my mum. So my wife Lindsay and I, my dad and I had a lovely Christmas down in Kirkintilloch, down at Dad's house. We were down there from Christmas Eve, kind of evening time, and then we headed back up the road about lunchtime on Boxing Day. So we had Christmas in his house. Lindsay done a fantastic roast turkey and gammon dinner, which was extremely tasty, I must admit. some nice relaxation, looking at some old photographs, which was lovely as well, and generally pretty relaxed. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed, and we made the most of Christmas in the Vogan household. How was your Christmas? Let me know in the comments in the live chat how your Christmas went for you. We've got 27 concurrent viewers. Be sure to hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button. So many things going on globally as well as locally, and we have got plenty of winter, I think anyway, coming up in the next couple of weeks. So let me just see here. Ready for the snow, says Matthew, Frogs Legs Matthew, that is. We've got S47. Hello, Mark. Hope you are well. A really bitter cold heading towards Sweden. I am very excited. Yes, I think there is a few of us excited. Obviously, it does hit your heating bill. It does affect the vulnerable, the elderly, etc., etc. I was out this afternoon doing a little gardening maintenance and doing a little bit of gritting of the paths and the driveway. So trying to get prepared for the colder weather. Certainly the cold weather is here. Not for, not widespread frost up and down the length and breadth of the land, but it certainly is feeling a little bit more seasonal, at least anyway. Soft Shallow 7435 saying, oh yes, we are ever so excited. Paul James, good afternoon to yourself, Paul. Hope you had a nice Christmas, my friend, and relaxed. So afternoon, Mark, and everyone. Sorry, let me just see here. We've got the S47 saying a lot of snow forecasted here in Sweden. I believe there was a bit of a blizzard in parts of Scandinavia over the past few days. First and 2nd of January, and then down to -15s. Proper winter on the way. 2 years ago, last time we seen this over here. Send us weather, said afternoon, Mark. Hope you're well. Certainly I'm doing well. Thank you very much. I hope you had a nice Christmas as well. Good evening to Best of Sweden. Lovely sunset, says Frogs Legs Matthew. Snow here soon, says Best of Sweden. I think 2025 has gone quick, says Paul. It certainly has. Can't believe how quick. Good afternoon to Paul Farwell as well. Cloudy and cold in Swindon. Good Christmas, says Paul, which I hope you had a good one. And thanks very much to Lindsay for the super chat. That is very kind. I do appreciate that, Lindsay, who is next door enjoying watching a film. I think she's between watching a film and watching the live stream. So yes, I think we're going to have some nice onion gravy with the homemade pigs and blankets for our dinner. What is everybody having for their Sunday dinner today? I've been trying to kind of cut back, not eating too much. Certainly have enjoyed some lovely food over the past few days, it has to be said. But yeah, trying to keep it as low key as possible. Trying to avoid some of the, you kind of get tired of the rich food as well. We had a lovely Chinese last night. We went to the Panto as well in Inverness, and it was good. But kind of during the daytime, having a nice bowl of soup and not really eating too much, because this time of the year, it really is, a time for gluttony, isn't it? You kind of just eat for the sake of eating, especially if you're home. You're kind of bored sometimes, and the old selection boxes looking at you in the corner of the room. We don't actually have any selection boxes. We're not actually big on sweet stuff, to be honest with you. But yeah, you have a couple of drinks, you start getting the munchies, and you know what it's like. If you like that sort of thing, that is. But let me just see here what else folks are saying. I do apologise if I miss anybody out. It is not intentional. So we've got Marie Robinson, 3935. Hello to yourself. Hope you had a nice Christmas as well, Marie. There we go. So there was one comment there that I was going to read out, but the advert just popped up there. Lovely donation, says send its weather. City Andy, good afternoon to yourself. Happy Christmas, Mark, and Merry New Year as well. And same to yourself, Andy. Hope you have had a lovely Christmas and Happy New Year when it comes, my friend. Mark, noble artist. Good evening, dear Mark, from Street, Somerset. Hope you enjoyed your Christmas as well, my friend. Cloudy, 5 Celsius here in East Hampshire, says Paul. 6 Celsius and windy, says Frogs Lakes Matthew. No more turkey, says Frogs Lakes Matthew as well. Let me just see here. Or sprouts. We didn't actually have sprouts this year, which is quite interesting. We normally do have sprouts. But sometimes it's good to mix it up a wee bit and change it around. Is 47, right, Mark? You predicted this spell back in December. Really good job. One of the best out there. Yep, I stuck by my guns. Even when the modelling towards the middle portions of the month was really not overly enthusiastic, and I thought to myself, you know, if my analysis, my reading and understanding of the weather is correct, then I felt as if we were about to turn a corner with regards to this super mild, super wet December. It has come about. I did say that I wasn't jumping on the extreme card. Yeah, we didn't really have much of a white Christmas. I did have, back at the end of November, I did predict 60% chance of a white Christmas in the UK. We certainly did have chilly weather during Christmas. Further south, we were looking at a 30, 40, even 50 mile per hour easterly wind, keeping the wind chill below freezing throughout the course of the day over, you know, really from about the Midlands southwards, East Anglia, bitterly cold easterly wind, really incorporating the whole of the southern UK. Higher pressure further north meant that we didn't have as much in the way of wind, but it certainly did feel quite chilly out there. It looks as if Aviemore did have an ice day. The temperature didn't get above freezing throughout the course of Christmas Day, and there's been 3 mornings in a row where the temperature has dropped below -7 Celsius at Aviemore. So certainly feeling like the end of December, that Christmassy New Year feel as well. And it does look as if we are going to get more of that as we progress into the month of January. Matthew saying, I dropped my turkey. It's now in the bin. That is not so good, Matthew. I hope you've got some backup food there, my friend. Yep, it's never good when the old turkey is dropped on the floor. We've got 44 concurrent viewers at the moment here, so be sure to hit that like button. But more importantly, hit the subscribe button if you don't mind, because we have lots of winter ahead, I hope anyway. But let's have a quick check then and see. This was the scene from Jersey, and we did see a white Christmas down in the Channel Islands, and it happened to be, let me just see here, snow flurries were observed around the island between 4 a.m. and dawn, making 2025 a technical white Christmas. This is from Jersey Met, by the way, on Twitter. The whiteness being a technicality because, yes, snowflakes did land on the island, but not enough to cover the ground. Very cold, though, a maximum of 3.3. Only the third white Christmas on record for the island of Jersey, which is rather interesting, actually. So another tweet here saying snowflakes have been observed in Jersey. That makes it only today our third official white Christmas since records began, which is pretty amazing, actually, when you think about that, isn't it? In stark contrast, we have been talking about some extreme heat on the other side of the planet. So while Jersey had its third white Christmas on record, the down in Perth, Australia, recorded its hottest Christmas day in 110 years of records. So the temperature did hit the 40s, I believe. Let me just see if I can pull up. Now, this was the temperatures according to Weather Obs on Christmas afternoon. So you're talking about 39 Celsius out in the island over the open ocean here, just off the Perth coast. with 32 Celsius, I believe, at Fremantle. Then even along the coast itself at Perth, 40 on the coast, 42, 43 Celsius in central and eastern sides of Perth in Australia, making it the hottest capital region on Earth during Christmas Day. Now, I've got a video here that I want to play out. This was from ABC News in Australia. Check this out here. This is quite an interesting contrast between Perth on the west coast of Australia and Tasmania.
We'll swelter through another day of the Christmas heatwave, with temperatures expecting to reach 40 degrees. Authorities are warning of extreme bushfire conditions, and surf lifesavers are urging beachgoers to be cautious. To the northwest, residents on the Cocos Keeling Islands are bunkering down as tropical cyclone Grant approaches. Miriam Bradbury from the Bureau of Meteorology says conditions are set to be concerning for firefighters.
We do have those low to severe intensity heat waves continuing for the west coast, including the southwest around Perth. Perth really only dropping down to around 25 degrees or so far on Christmas Eve night into Christmas morning. It's unlikely we may drop too much further before the sun properly rises, heading for a top of 40 degrees today. So on top of that, we've got the high to extreme fire dangers as well. So fairly concerning conditions for our firefighters out there, and all coming in on Christmas Day when everybody's going to be out and about and getting to their Christmas lunches. So definitely a day to be aware of the heat and to act sensibly and safely to stay cool.
And let's talk about Tropical Cyclone Grant. I know last night it was off WA's northwest coast and it was a Category 1. How's it tracking?
Yeah, so still sitting well away from the WA coast, currently around 70 kilometres to the east of the Cocos Keeling Islands. Now, it is a Category 1 system. It did weaken slightly overnight, but it's come back to a Category 1 system. The expectation is that it will remain a Category 1 system as it passes to the north of the Cocos Islands this morning. Now, that means we could see that heavy rain and risk of damaging wind gusts continuing through today, as well as a dangerous storm surge. So a bit of a rough Christmas day for our friends on the Cocos Islands, but definitely one that hopefully should be on the easing trend later in the day as Tropical Cyclone Grant continues to move west away from the Cocos Islands.
We've had some really variable weather across the country for Christmas. Melbourne has had its chilliest Christmas morning in a while.
Certainly has been pretty cool this morning and a cool day ahead. Fairly cloudy conditions across Melbourne City at the moment. We're heading for a top of just 17 degrees today. Now, if we don't push above 17 degrees, it would be the coldest Christmas day since about 2006. So not what you'd expect for typical summer weather, but it does happen when we get a cold front moving through. We're seeing that cold weather all the way down through Tasmania as well. So unfortunately, it is going to be a bit of a grey one, but hopefully our Christmas lunches will keep us warm.
Right, so cool in Melbourne and Tassie. What about the rest of the East Coast, Miriam?
So looking up the east coast, we've actually got fairly settled conditions through New South Wales. Just a few patchy light showers about the coast, unlikely to bring too much to the gauges. Sydney heading for a top of around 24 degrees today, 28 and a bit drier for Canberra. As we push up towards Brisbane, though, we're going to see that risk of showers.
So if you're just tuning in, a very warm welcome to this final live stream of 2025. Currently, we're just discussing the Christmas period over Australia, where we've seen snow, a white Christmas in Tasmania, usually cool conditions down in parts of the southeast, including Melbourne. We had a tropical cyclone also affecting parts of the coastal regions of Australia, as well as a record hot Christmas in Perth, Australia, where we've seen temperatures around about 40 degrees with overnight minimums like this lady is saying for Perth as we went from Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. Yeah, probably winds. I see Paul's comment there about Fremantle Doctor, not in Perth. Maybe wind was in the wrong direction. I believe we had some, obviously, the intense heat in parts of Western Australia. So certainly some very impressive heat to speak about. I just want to actually see... I'm just trying to see what the official highest temperature was in Perth. So according to figures from the Bureau of Meteorology, temperatures in Perth reached a maximum of 42.1, just 0 points shy of the record set in, right, okay, so hottest Christmas Day, that is Just bear with a second here. I'm curious to know. I should have known this. I should have looked it up before the stream, but as per usual, Marky Boy isn't overly organised. Let me just see here. Is it going to show me what I wanted to show? It keeps pulling up other things, so I'll call that quits. Anywho, but yes, let me just see what else I can show. Let's have a quick look then at some of the live streams before it gets dark in most areas. This is the live view from New York City, where the current temperature is 25 degrees Fahrenheit. We did see a snow event there over the past couple of days. So this is looking down, I believe, from the Empire State. This is looking down into Times Square. And this video is courtesy of Fox News, I believe. So this is the various views looking in and around Manhattan and the surrounding area of New York. This is looking at Long Island City. So fairly cold on the other side of the Atlantic. We have seen record heat, incidentally, across the central half of the United States. But in parts of California, where we've seen 5 feet of snow over the last 72 hours in parts of the High Sierra, we've also seen excessive rainfall in lower elevations. This is a scene here from Jersey City, New Jersey. This is from Fort Lee, New Jersey. So some nice scenes coming out of the New York City area. Currently, this is from Main Street in Canmore, Alberta, and you can see the beautiful mountains in the background and snow-packed roadways through the centre of town here in Canmore in Alberta. Pretty typical scene, it has to be said, in this part of the world. You would expect to see this being the case in Alberta. This is the live look from downtown Calgary in Alberta. Plenty of snow in the ground, and you can see here the steam coming off the buildings here, representative of some fairly cold air in place. And you can see the ice there on the river. This is the current scene then in Fort William in the West Highlands here at Loch Aber, where we've got a current temperature of minus 2.1, thick frost on the ground. The fog is now setting in. Even just before I went live here, it was much clearer, but the fog is now setting in. Wouldn't be surprised if we get that here in Roshar as we set in here, especially the fog is attracted to the water. This is Loch Linney, just behind the road here. This is the main road coming into Fort William. And yes, lovely scene there. Let me just see here. I want to show you a couple of other things here. Siberia live cams as well. Obviously, it's dark now. Further east in Siberia, we've got a advert just to wait and clear up. So this is the scene here from parts of Siberia, where we've had temperatures down as low as minus 59 Celsius over recent days. Temperatures not quite as cold in parts of Siberia, it has to be said. This is from Yakutsk, where we had temperatures down to minus 50 Celsius in recent days. Now, there has been thick ice fog. The current temperature is 24 minutes past 1 on Monday morning here. So obviously this is in the east side of Siberia here. So it's 25 past 1 in the morning on December 29th, Monday morning. And it looks as if the ice fog has finally lifted. And what happens is, in this part of the world, especially in low-lying river valley areas, same for Delyanka and also for Oymyakon, which is the pole of cold, where temperatures drop into the minus 50s, even minus 60s in Celsius, ice fog can become trapped within these valleys for weeks on end during the winter season, and it can be really quite a harsh environment. Not only have you got the thick frost, but also you've got the fog that just envelops these these valleys and really makes it pretty miserable and tough conditions for folks to live in. Now, this is a scene here also from Yakutsk, looking over the frozen Lena River, and you can actually see the vehicles going from one side of the river to the other. I've been watching this over the last few days, and pretty fascinating. This time of the year, obviously, the river becomes extremely frozen solid, and then that creates a roadway linking one side of the river from the other. But this is a pretty major river that runs through, I think it's Yakutsk, if I'm right in saying. Crossing the dangerous Lena River, crossing in Yakutsk in Russia. So fascinating stuff. Let me just look at somewhere a little bit closer to home and see what the current scene is. Looking outside the Temple Bar in Dublin. Just bear with a second for this advert to clear up. So there we go. Certainly a busy evening in the centre of Dublin. I've never been outside the Temple Bar, I must admit, but it looks as if there's plenty of folks enjoying the festivities in the Irish capital this evening. Now, we've also seen obviously some extreme rainfall, not just in California, but we've also seen that in parts of Spain. These are the scenes here from a video. This is from The Sun. So obviously a lot of thunderstorm activity, heavy snowfall in the high Sierra Nevada mountains of Spain, but down at lower levels, flash flooding. This was the scene out of Malaga, but also very heavy hail falling as well as the heavy rainfall. Continue with the video here. Better turn the volume off in case I get penalised for the old copyright, so I'm just slightly cautious of that one. That was the scenes, like I say, in parts of Iberia over recent days. Heavy snowfall, like I say, as well as heavy rain. It has been a pretty rainy period actually through November as well as December, down even as far down as the Canary Islands. But a wintry scene, like I say, out of the New York City area in recent days. This was the scene and a video captured by Fox Weather Live. Let's watch this video quickly. So that was the scene in New York over the last couple of days. Do we get any correspondence here? Yeah, I thought there might have been an actual report on that one here, but let's move across to the west coast and see what was happening.
The US state of California is bracing for even more extreme weather after wind, rain, and snow pummeled the state. At least 2 people were killed in storm-related incidents. Officials are warning the danger is not over, with flash flooding and avalanches possible.
As a raging torrent inundated their home, these San Bernardino residents were plucked from the roof. A relentless storm soaked parts of California,
making it the wettest Christmas season for downtown Los Angeles in 54 years, officials said. San Bernardino was one of the worst hit areas when an atmospheric river carried massive amounts of moisture from Hawaii over the Pacific and dumped it on the US West Coast. The storm sent walls of water, mud and debris crashing into homes and bridges, cutting off families and rewriting their festive plans.
We weren't expecting to spend Christmas stuck at the house with limited utilities. But the flip side of that is I can be thankful to spend time with my family.
The season also served as inspiration for this man, who hiked for 2 kilometres through the floodwaters to rescue his mum's cats.
Kind of fitting because the holidays for me are supposed to be about being together and about helping one another out. So being able to be given, as bad as it sounds, kind of an upper opportunity like this to get out and help folks. I enjoy being able to get out and help, so I'm okay with it.
A state of emergency has been declared in 6 California counties, with officials warning residents to be particularly careful on the roads as they travel during the holiday season.
Let's now speak to meteorologist Matthew Capucci. And Matthew, before we start, I know it's a serious topic, but I must compliment you on the holiday sweater you've got on. California was hit by another powerful storm on Christmas Day, and there were torrential rains, mudslides, and flash floods. What led to this massive storm?
Melissa, you're exactly right. Good to see you, and Merry Christmas to you as well. This was caused by a swirling low-pressure system in the eastern Pacific, a counterclockwise, just swirling pocket in the atmosphere. And what that does is entrain a filament of robust tropical moisture all the way from Hawaii, so about roughly 3,000, 4,000 kilometers away. And this narrow but intense fire...
Very good evening to Jack Lowe, and hope you had a good Christmas, my friend. And Real Show fame also tuning in. Good evening to yourself. Let's continue to watch this situation in California, and then we'll move on. But thanks for tuning in and leaving a comment.
Of moisture is aimed right at the coastline. So that does multiple things. Number one, it saturates the atmosphere. And number two, that moisture is forced up the mountains. So the coastal range, the Sierra Nevada, those mountains really enhance rainfall rates, or in the case of the Sierra, above about 2,000 meters, heavy snow. So the coastal range of California, just north of Los Angeles, they saw upwards of 30, even 40 centimeters worth of rainfall in about 36 hours, causing flooding, mudslides, and landslides that buried vehicles and homes and debris up to something like 2-3 meters thick at times.
And is the danger over now, or should people expect and prepare for more in the coming hours or even days?
Yeah, so the actual atmospheric river itself has moved eastwards, that robust filament.
So you get the general idea anyway. We've obviously had the extreme rainfall in low elevations, but let's have a look and see with regards to the snow aspect, because we have seen some exceptional snow amounts. This is obviously home to some of the greatest snowfall rates on the planet. And let me just see here what video I can show. Try and get this advert out of the way first.
The Sierra Nevada is covered in fresh snow for the holiday week, but with the reward, of course...
A little bit hard to hear. I do apologise about that.
...comes some risks. ABC 7 News reporter Melanie Woodrow has that part of our coverage.
Sports Basement was busier than usual Friday afternoon as skiers and...
in the last 72 hours. Tahoe area marketing expert Sierra Nevada got hit hard.
Try to get out early and beat the rush.
The Sierra Nevada got hit hard in the last 72 hours. Tahoe area marketing expert Kevin Cooper, known as Coop, says winter has arrived in Lake Tahoe.
We went from zero to here. This last storm really did deliver.
What had been dirt is now covered by a blanket of fresh snow, bringing with it dangerous roads.
I-80 has been open and closed from Nyack all the way to the Nevada border for over 12 hours in the last 2 days due to spinouts.
We almost canceled before going up.
But not for road conditions. Abraham Martinez says rather for lack of snow.
By tomorrow morning, those teams should have a good amount of the resorts opened up.
KGO engineer Jack Fraser says he thinks it's slowing down some.
So there's been about 5 feet of snow within a 72-hour period fallen within the high Sierra Nevada mountains of California in the last few days. So let's move on then and see what is taking place in other parts of the world. Now, I want to just show you here. This is the scene from Van in Turkey back during the course of yesterday. So you can see here, very heavy snowfall. This is another cold and snowy part of the world at this time of the year. Very hot in the summer in the eastern portions of Turkey. But at this time of the year, you can get some exceptional snowfall, especially once you get that sea effect when the icy winds blow over the Black Sea, then bump into the higher elevations as it moves into Turkey itself. You get this orographic influence, and you can get big dumps of snow in parts of Turkey, especially, like I say, around the Black Sea coast region. But this was the scene out of Van in Turkey, like I say, over the past couple of days. Beautiful scene coming out of parts of Netherlands, cold that has kind of really set in just before Christmas, allowing the canals to ice up, and you never get bored of this scene from the Netherlands here of folks skating. Probably a little bit of a risky move, I must admit. That ice doesn't look massively thick. But, yep, plenty of folks out enjoying the ice skating on the canals of the Netherlands in the last few days. So, yep, fantastic scenes there. And another scene here. This is another quick view. So we really did see quite the contrast in Christmas. Record flooding, record snowfall, record heat, all affecting many areas during the course of Christmas Day, whether it be Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day. This is also a scene here from one of the mountains in Taiwan, over 3,000 meters above sea level, while the temperature at the lowest elevations at the base of the mountain, we were still talking about temperatures of 20 Celsius. 3,000 feet up on the tops, we had these kind of scenes. Pretty crazy to think that, 20 Celsius at the base of the mountain, blizzard conditions in the highest parts of the mountain here. This was the Italian resort of Prado Neveso, Nevaoso, I think it is, buried in heavy snowfall over the last 4 days, upwards of 3 meters of snowfall. And check this out, the Italian Alps. Pretty deep snow that is for sure. Let me just see here. What else I can show here? This was from the Piedmont. This is the Maritime Alps in Italy. Certainly wouldn't recommend driving with that snow on the car.
Questo è il nuovo camper della Fiat.
Yeah, so the Pravo Nevoso ski resort in Italy over the last 4 days or so. And of course, we did see a record warm temperature on Christmas Day as well, just shy of 20 Celsius due to very strong southwesterly winds, the Föhn effect as well kicking in. And this resort, this community on the east coast of Iceland that I'm not going to dare attempt to pronounce, seen a new all-time national record achieved, which is pretty crazy actually. We did see a temperature of 19.7. That was the previous record that was set back in 2019 in Iceland. So record warm temperatures in Iceland. Let me see if there's anything else that I can show at this moment in time. Let me quickly look at, we obviously seen Canada's coldest temperature since 1974 for the month of December. Braeburn and Yukon reaching minus 55.7 Celsius back several days ago. And yep, that was pretty impressive. The coldest in any month for Canada since 1999. Now, this was the scene out of the Kurdistan region of Iraq. So obviously snow in Iraq, especially northern mountainous regions of Iraq, nothing really unusual to see that, by the way, but it just shows you that we are now in winter. And in the meantime, this was the scenes out of Yakutsk in Russia. This is what minus 50 Celsius looks like, by the way. If you haven't already seen images like this, I'm sure you have. You notice the ice fog, you notice that kind of layer of fog at low levels. As the cold air collects, you've got that body of water as well that attracts the development, the formation of this fog that can linger for weeks at a time at this time of the year. I have to admit, I would love to go there and just see what that actually feels like, because that must be pretty incredible. Must really just suck the energy, like the air out your lungs when you engage with that type of cold, minus 50 Celsius, mental stuff. Anyway, let's continue to move on here. This was an interesting one. It's been very wet, obviously, down in the Canary Islands, and with northerly flow and moisture. This was a visible satellite imagery looking down over the island of Gran Canaria, or Gran Canaria, whatever way you want to pronounce it. But look at how green the northeast side of the island is due to that moisture. Also, the clouds here actually showing up on the north and northeastern slopes of the island here. So that, persistent north to northeasterly flow. We obviously had Storm Amelia not that long ago, and it really has greened things up on the north side of the island, which is pretty interesting. So, like I say, 5 feet of snow moving back over to California, and the snow here. This is Mammoth Mountain, and they received. Up until recently, by the way, there was 0 snow in the Sierra Nevada mountains. So this is quite a turnaround in recent times. An interesting tweet here by Colin McCarthy showing that Santa Barbara, which is west of Los Angeles, has seen 99% of its annual rainfall in just the last 6 weeks, totaling over 18 inches since mid-November. Lake Cachuma is now spilling in December for the first time since 1983. By far the wettest start to a water year since records began in this area since the 1890s. So pretty interesting. And this is the lake here showing a very healthy amount of water in it. So, good news. There is nowhere in California in drought at the minute. And, of course, that is, I'm sure, very welcome for the folks here. Just continuing to look to see if there's anything else that I can show. So let's move on then. Let's quickly look at the other aspects. So we've obviously had some very high pressure over the UK over recent days. Not quite reaching the record 1052 millibars that was set on the 24th of December 1926. But we did see a pressure of 1046 millibars back yesterday in the West Highland region. This is the current temperatures in across the planet as we're live at the minute. We're talking about temperatures into the 30s in the tropics, as you would expect, the tropics and subtropics, and then of course further south into the southern hemisphere. We are talking about some very warm numbers indeed. We've had heat wave conditions in the Rio de Janeiro area, but you can see at the moment we've got the south of the equator, South America, South Africa, and indeed down across Australia as well. We're talking about temperatures. Obviously, it's the early hours of the morning now in Australia, and temperatures are generally in the kind of down across the far south of Australia. We're talking about the teens. Further north over the continent, we're talking about temperatures upper 20s, low 30s, especially in the interior west of Australia. The usual within the tropics of the Indian Ocean and the West Pacific. And then, of course, as you go further north, we're talking about some fairly cold temperatures. Europe has turned colder in recent times compared to the first half of December. Welcome news, of course, for folks in Europe that like winter, that is. And then as we push further east, you can see here the temperatures not just as cold as they have been. We are still talking about temperatures close to minus 50 in a few spots. Yakutsk, for example, at around minus 45 Celsius at the moment. Here we've got a minus 48 Celsius in this particular location. So not as cold in parts of central and east Siberia compared to recent times. Let's move across into North America then, and we are generally talking about temperatures into the mid-minus 40s in Celsius. Look at how much less cold it is in the Yukon, where we were talking about temperatures day after day in the minus 50s. We're only talking about minus 23, minus 25 Celsius, considerably milder. But notice here that as it's warmed up over the northwest of North America, we're now seeing colder getting pushed southwards. But a contrast, big contrast here between temperatures into the minus 30s in parts of central and southern Saskatchewan, and then into the minus teens in parts of Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota here. We're talking about minus 19, minus 20. Look at this here. we've got plus 20s in the parts of Iowa, for example. Not so much Iowa, but Missouri. Big contrast. So, -7, -9 in western Iowa. Central and southern portions of Missouri, we're talking about 21, 22 Celsius. Big contrast here, and we've actually got severe weather that is going to return to parts of the eastern portions of the country and the plain states in the next few days. Let's just play this video very quickly here and see what they've got to say.
Severe weather, that's something that's popping up today. It's different. We haven't had severe weather in a while. We got to dust off the old severe weather forecasting for a second here. But right now, we're going to focus on the northern tier, where we have blizzard warnings in effect across portions of the plains and the Midwest, including right here, that was over in Grand Forks, North Dakota. We can anticipate a widespread about 5 to 8 inches of snow in most spots, but we do have lake effect snow that's pushing the totals to feet for the Yup of Michigan on the western shores.
So obviously you've got this storm system over, as you can see here in this graphic here, over the southern portion of, the northern portions of the lower peninsula of Michigan. We've got colder wrapping around the backside on the western side, drawing that colder air in. Heavy snowfall across parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin as well. But meanwhile, we've got warm air getting drawn northwards ahead of this cold front, and that is what's creating the severe weather threat here. We'll continue to let Haley Myers speak, and then we'll look at some of our own snow prospects coming up in the next few days. So stay tuned, and let's just play this video.
And even later down the line for the Northeast, which we'll touch on in a second. But here's what we're expecting through Monday. We have an area of low pressure that's pushing south out of Canada, but because this one is a little bit further to the north, hugging the Canadian-U.S. border, it's keeping that cold air bottled north, and so that's why the I-95 corridor, we're getting purely rain with this. But behind this low, we have an intense wind that's going to come in from 40 to as much as probably 50, 60 miles per hour. And when you have active snow behind a low, and then you also have the gusty winds, you then get blizzard warnings. And so we've got our Fox Weather Alert system just lit up in orange, so highlighting the blizzard warnings, winter storm warnings for northern Wisconsin, winter storm watches when you look at the western half of the Michigan shore, and winter storm warning. I mean, we've got it all going on here, Ari. So
it's going to be a monster storm.
It is.
The low right now is actually like sitting over the central plains. I'm kind of fascinated how far it's going to move throughout the day today. Like I said, the conditions today are going to go down really fast. I think that's one of the main kind of hallmarks of the way this is going to pan out. Pressure gradient's already starting to tighten up. I'm looking at some of the wind gusts right now. Let me see what we've got out here.
So that's that. And then there's the severe weather threat further east as well. Alex saying, imagine, Mark, if we had minus 50 Celsius or minus 55 Celsius in the UK. The thing is that's not going to happen. But the coldest temperature anywhere in the UK, minus 27.2 officially. Our houses would freeze and infrastructure would completely grind a halt if we ever experienced temperatures as cold as that. We are just, we live in a part of the world that is not designed for that type of cold. Certainly in parts of Canada, Siberia, Greenland, obviously it's not really much population away from that coastal area. You're not going to see temperatures in that kind of ballpark. But certainly would be pretty fascinating stuff. So anyway, let's crack on then and look at the current temperatures here in the UK. This is the temperatures in North America. So look at the contrast here, minus 20s versus plus mid-20s. So 24 Celsius in parts of Oklahoma. So very, very warm temperatures. 27 in Brownsville, Texas. 26 at Lake Charles in Louisiana. And there's the contrast. There's that demarcation zone between Arctic air and warm tropical air that is trying to lift northwards. Very mild, even up in the northern portions of Illinois, for example. But let's look at Europe and see what the current temperatures are looking. So this is helps if I can get the right one. This is the current temperatures across Europe here. So still chillier, incorporating most of Europe. And then if we look at the UK specifically, this is how things are looking here. So we are talking about -4s, Alton-Hara, Aviemore, -2s and 3s at Tain and Inverness Dalcross respectively. Further south, a little bit less in the way of cold, mid-single figures quite widely across England, Wales, as well as Ireland and Northern Ireland. And let's have a look at the temperatures through the month of December, through the 28th of December, that is. Extremely cold conditions, a good part of central and western Canada. Very warm central plains of the United States westwards. Cold across the upper Midwest, Great Lakes in the northeast for the month of December, albeit that has been chipped away in recent days. Very warm across most of Eurasia, as you can see here. Australia warmer than average. Most of South America warmer than average as well. Greenland very warm compared to average. This is the temperatures for the year to date. And one stark thing to pick out here is the fact that there is literally nowhere, very, very few places on the planet has seen temperatures below average through this year so far. And we've got only, 3 days left of 2025. Be interesting to see what happens going forward. Now, in terms of the temperature anomalies over the next 5 days, this is how it's looking off the GFS ensemble. 6 through 10, notice here we cool down considerably. This is the day 1 through 5. Let's zoom in a little bit here to make it a bit easier to see. So this is the day 1 through 5, which takes us out to the 2nd of January. 6 through 10, and considerably colder than average, a little bit warmer than average down in the Balkans and Italy, for example. Then the 11 to 15 days, still colder than average, which takes us out to the 12th of January. Now let's have a quick look then and see what the ECMWF is predicting in terms of snow. We'll look at Europe and then we'll look at the UK. We've got 71 concurrent viewers. Before you leave today's stream, folks, please hit the subscribe button as well as hit the like button. It lets myself and YouTube know that you're enjoying the content here on the channel. So you can see here as we play it through, this is through Hogmanay. The 1st of January now, the ECMWF is picking up on some snow in the north, and then it increases the coverage not only across Europe but also across the UK as well as Ireland as well. Certainly an interesting look here as we move towards the end of week 1 of January 2026. That's interesting, isn't it? Now let's zoom in to the UK specifically and see what it's showing off the ECMWF model here. And we'll look at the details coming up obviously tomorrow in the European Outlook. But look at that there. For Friday the 9th of January, most of the UK away from the far south has a covering of snow. Yes, it's probably overdone, but nevertheless, it's quite interesting to see that. So if we go back and see here that we're starting to turn white during Christmas, New Year's Day, parts of Wales, parts of the northwest of England, West Midlands, North Midlands, continue to play it through, and you notice here that we really start to turn white across many. This is the snow depth. Let's have a look at the GFS model here and see what it's showing. Very different. Notice that there. This is the 11th of January. Let's go back to Hogmanay. Nothing as we hit midnight. Bring in 2026, and then as we progress through New Year's Day, the GFS is turning things a little bit white. We're starting to see white now over Ireland, Northern Ireland, Wales, parts of the Midlands, for example, southeastern Scotland. Continue to play through. We can see here, interesting how it's beginning to see the snow, eastern England, southeast Scotland, north of the central belt, a good part of Northern Ireland here picking up in some sort of snow. Wales, especially over high ground, etc. Continue to play it through. It's not showing the widespread UK snow cover that the ECMWF is showing. Let's zoom out then and see what the GFS is showing in terms of the overall overview chart here, and see what it's showing here. So this is the GFS model. You can see here that we've got high pressure that is showing up. Is it going to update? No. Okay, let's move over to the ECMWF then and see if it's going to show what I wanted to show. And then we'll end with that. But I hope you've enjoyed the content here on today's live stream, the final live stream of 2025. It looks as if it's not wanting to play ball. Server error, please try clicking the reload button it's saying. So let's click that and see if it's going to pull up. Nope, it isn't. I'll tell you what, let's go on to the normal, the operational run off the GFS. Look at this here for temperature anomalies. Let's go back to, Thursday 25th. So that's Christmas Day. This is the temperature anomalies, by the way. You can see here that we've got chilly conditions, a bit of a mixture across the UK, Ireland, as well as the continent. Then as we head towards the final days of the year and into the turn of the new year, you can see here the colder air getting drawn south. This is Saturday the 3rd of January. And some very deep blues there, some purples representing some notably cold temperatures. So this is late Tuesday the 6th of January. Still a long way off. Feels as if I constantly say the same thing every time I'm on these videos here. But look at the contrast. Balkans versus France. Low countries, Germany, Iberia, UK and Ireland here. This is notably cold temperatures. Continue to play through. You can see here that the cold tries to linger on. Now let's have a look at the overview of this particular graphic and see what it's showing. Let's go back. You can see here northerly winds as the high slips to the west. We've got thickness values dropping as well as the colder air digs in from the north. We've got an area of low pressure that may generate some fairly heavy snowfall as we progress through the first few days of the new year. We've got a system here over Biscay, may try and throw some moisture north as the cold air digs south, so need to watch out for some snow prospects. Still a lot of uncertainty this far out, but you can see here that we've got northerly winds that continue through the end of week 1 towards the week 2 period of January, and then higher pressure settles in with snow on the ground, high pressure in place, colder in place. We could see temperatures well into negative double digits with this type of setup here. So that is that. Let's have a look at the total accumulated snowfall seen by the GFS model here, and that is the look it's got through Wednesday the 7th of January here. So this is total accumulation of snow. This isn't, snow depth for this period of time. Wow, that certainly would be interesting if that was the case. So anyway, we've got 80 concurrent viewers. I always feel as if the most concurrent viewers appear just at the time where I'm kind of rounding things up. Let me just quickly see if there's this weather charts will reload for me, because I wanted to show the ECMWF chart, but it doesn't. There we go. Let's quickly look at the North Atlantic view as well as Europe. This is the overview of the ECMWF. So you can see here the high pressure at the moment. Then as it slips a little bit more to the west, northwest, deep area of low pressure, we've got the pinch in the isobar, so it's going to import some particularly cold Arctic air with high pressure to the west, low pressure to the east, northerly flow. If we put on the 850 temperatures here, you can see that we are dragging in some very cold air straight out of the Arctic, and this would be New Year's Day. So yep, some chilly conditions for sure, and then the cold continues to drive further south. Area of low pressure always increases the chance of snow with that northerly flow, and the cold, according to the ECMWF, really does linger, increases in intensity as we head towards New Year's Day, and then it kind of lingers on through week 1 of January, and I do think that's going to be the case. Notice here an area of low pressure moving in from the west-southwest, approaching the southwest of Ireland. Now colder in place with this moisture coming in could generate some significant snow as well, even across more southern portions of the UK, possibly Ireland as well. So certainly there is a lot more wintry weather on the cards as we head towards the New Year period and week 1 of January. So I hope you can stick around. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of the global weather extremes through the final days of December 2025. And yes, I'll be back next weekend with the first live stream of 2026. So that's it. I do greatly appreciate each and everybody's ongoing support. Thank you for your support over the past year. Hope you have a wonderful new year coming up, and I'll be back as usual tomorrow with the first European outlook of the new working week, albeit it's not a normal working week because we're just about to head into the New Year period. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and weekend, and join me tomorrow with the European outlook. Bye for now.